Well, I'm just so pleased that Senator Wilson was willing to join me today, starting out this video, so that you have an opportunity to meet some of the other people here serving in the Senate. So I wanted to give you just a little update on what the Senate will be doing this week. We've been, of course, hard at work since January 15th. Finance Committee has multiple meetings this week. In fact, there are 14 finance subcommittees meeting this week. It kicks off today being Monday, with the Public Safety Finance Subcommittee. So what these subcommittees do is they are assigned to each department in state government. So let's take public safety, for example. Today, Senator Machicki will lead that committee, and they're going to take a deep dive into the public safety budget. Where is the money being spent? Are they meeting their mission? Where do they need more money? Or where is money not being effectively used? So 14 of those subcommittees begin meeting this week. In Finance Committee, today we heard about the state's debt. So that was a really interesting meeting. That link will be in the newsletter. Tomorrow we're going to hear about the state's credits and also the labor contracts that we have to approve this session. Well, we have to evaluate. We'll see what we approve, what we don't. I don't know how that will come out. But we're also going to be examining savings accounts, budget reserves, and then they're going to spend a meeting just looking at the opioid issue and the drug abuse issue in the Finance Committee. We have a commissioner up for confirmation hearing today. That'll be in the Resources Committee. This is the Commissioner of Fish and Game. Many citizens are being appointed to the state's boards and commissions, and there's going to be many of them reviewed this week. They'll be interviewed by the Resources Committee and also Labor and Commerce. And then we have some bills being heard as well this week. In the State Affairs Committee, there is a bill. This is presented by Senator Schauer, and it says that after the 90th day on the legislative calendar, no other bills can be heard except the budget bill if it has not been fully passed yet. So that bill will be heard today. There's also governor's bills, one that will require payment of the permanent fund dividend according to the formula. That's Senate Bill 23. Senate Bill 24 outlines how the previous dividends that were reduced in size should be paid back. So State Affairs is going to be hearing that. And that's actually tomorrow. There's also the crime bill being heard on the sentencing changes to the crime bill that the governor proposed. So that's coming up. And a bill that will address our liquor laws. That is Senate Bill 16, coming from Senator Machicki. We call it the Save the State Fair bill, as it will help the state fair. They serve alcohol in some of the venues there at the fair, and there need to be some legal corrections to continue to allow that. There's also going to be a hearing on the parole changes that the governor is proposing to our crime laws. Now, last week I talked to you about the web poll that was done and the over 300 replies, written comments, that is, that came from all of you. And I just wanted to talk about a couple of them. You know, one of them that was commonly said or often said was get the budget done in 90 days. It is complex. And remember, we're talking about billions of dollars here. And so think about this. Do you really want quick, superficial decisions made about a budget that is $4 to $6 to $8 billion in size? We really do need to take our time looking at that, especially with the governor's anticipated budget cuts. We really need to make sure that we're not harming the citizens and the businesses of our state, because at the end of the day, this is about Alaska's families, Alaska's businesses, and Alaska's jobs. It's interesting, the permanent fund dividend messages that I received. Half of them said, we want our full dividend. The other half said, keep it, use it to fund government. I'm fine with that. But don't give us an income tax on top of that. So a real variety of answers there. Many people talked about cutting the funding for the gas pipeline. And it's actually a gas project. It's more than just a pipeline. We'll talk more about that as we go forward. The governor has appointed different people to the gas pipeline board, and I think they're going to be changing the direction just a little bit. So we'll talk about that as time goes on. Healthcare, you heard Senator Wilson and I talking about healthcare. I'm very concerned about the cost. It is crippling families. It's really damaging businesses, and we need to get that under control. Many of you talked about the cost of healthcare being an imperative that we addressed. So that's a few of the issues that you brought up. I just want you to know that I have read them all, and I appreciate your input. So we'll see you next week, and I'll keep you apprised on what we're doing here in the legislature.